ẹ̀kọ́ ló láyé táwa yìí sẹ́ ẹ̀kọ́ dára púpọ̀ ẹ̀kọ́ ló láyé táwa yìí sẹ́ ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dẹni gíga ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò ọlá ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yin òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dẹni gíga ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò ọlá ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yin òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yin òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Kò gba ẹ̀kọ́ ó dáni lójú pé yóò jìyà iṣẹ́ burúkú ni wọ́n ń ṣe tí wọ́n bá jalè wọ́n wá tún fọ́lé ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yin òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa iṣẹ́ burúkú ni wọ́n ń ṣe tí wọ́n bá jalè wọ́n wá tún fọ́lé ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yin òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yin òbí wa lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. dára púpọ̀ ẹ̀kọ́ ló láyé táwa yìí sẹ̀ ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dẹni gíga ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò ọlá ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yin òbí wa lẹ́bà lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dẹni gíga ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò ọlá ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yin òbí wa lẹ́bà lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́. Lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wá.
They know enough, those who know how to learn. With this quote from Henry Adams, I welcome you to another edition of this wonderful program on radio, Education Today. Education Today is a program that aims to call attention of the public to education matters as they affect the effective running of the educational system and the achievement of the educational goals. This comes on air every Saturday on this station, Light Radio.
ẹ̀dàkúnyé ẹ̀yin òbí wa lẹ́bà lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wá.
They know enough, those who know how to learn. With this quote from Henry Adams, I welcome you to another edition on this wonderful program on radio, Education Today. Education Today is a program that aims to call attention of the public to education matters as they affect the effective running of the educational system and the achievement of educational goals. This comes on air every Saturday on this station, Light Radio. Our goal is to educate, inform, orientate, and entertain the society on educational matters, address issues affecting the educational system, influence public opinion, and drive effective educational policy. Directions to guide the formulators and implementers. For your comments, questions, and contributions, you can reach us on Facebook via www.facebook.com/lightradio, on X at The Light Radio, Instagram light_radio, on YouTube Light Radio. You can also call or send a message to us via SMS or WhatsApp on 08097 384,000. We'll go on a quick break. When we return, the program continues. Please stay with us. If you just join in, I am Aisha Hussein. First, we go with the news by Amina. Hello, Anima.
How are you doing, Anisha? This is the news on Education Today, reaching you live from Light Radio. I am Karim Aminat. First, headlines. ASU suspend planned nationwide strike. KASU lecturers threaten 2-week warning strike over poor welfare. Reps explain push for removal of universities from Band A electricity tariff. U.S. consulates give 33 Nigerians $2.92 million scholarships to students in American universities. And on the foreign scene, school reprimanded after using facial recognition technology to take canteen payments from pupils. Now the details. The Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, ASUP, has suspended its planned industrial action following the federal government's withdrawal of its newly introduced service scheme for holders of higher national diploma, HND certificates in government employment. The Polytechnic lecturers said that there is no need for embark on nationwide strike since their demands have been met by the federal government regarding the controversial policy, which they argued would further widen the long-standing disparity between HND and BSc holders in the labor market if implemented. Recall that the federal government, through the National Board for Technical Education, NBTE, recently issued a white paper titled Scheme of Service for Polytechnics, signed by the head of Civil Service of the Federation, Dr. Folashade Yemi Eson. A copy of this document was sent to ASU through the NBTE. According to the ASUP, the document contains many discrepancies and contentious issues that have displeased its members, and they are key stakeholders in polytechnic education. The Academic Staff Union of University ASU, Kaduna State University KASU branch, has reserved to embark on a 2-week warning strike over unresolved issues bordering on welfare. The union stated this in a notification letter addressed to the Vice-Chancellor of the university, Professor Abdullahi Musa, signed by its chairman, Dr. Peter Adamu, and Secretary, Dr. Peter Waziri. In the letter, the lecturers explained that the decision was reached at the union's Congress held on Thursday. Furthermore, the union explained that the strike was to protect non-payment of 5 months' salaries from May to September 2022, 60% September 2017, and other withheld salaries of academic staff. Also, according to the union, other unresolved issues, including earned academic allowance from 2018 to date, pension remittance from 2009 to 2019, and group life insurance for deceased academic staff from 2019 to date. The House of Representatives has explained why it is pushing for the removal of federal universities from the Band A electricity tariff plan to alleviate their substantial electricity bills. Honorable Abubakar Fulata, chairman of the House Committee of University Education, made this announcement on Friday in Abuja, following the committee's oversight visit to the Federal University of the Northeast. The university visited included Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, Bauchi, and Federal University Kashere Gombe states. Fulata highlighted that efforts are on the way to reclassify universities and tertiary institutions out of the Band A electricity tariff brackets. He emphasized the committee's commitment to addressing barriers that hinder the effective operation of these institutions. Fulata also expressed confidence that the government would heed to their request and adjust the tariff plan for universities, similar to the changes made for the Integrated Payroll and Personal Information System (HIPIS). 33 high-achieving Nigerian students have been awarded full scholarships totaling $2.92 million, about 3.54 billion naira, for the 2024/2025 academic session to study at American universities and colleges. This opportunity was facilitated by the United States Consulate General in Lagos through the Opportunity Funds Program, which aims to provide access to the U.S. higher education for highly qualified international students with limited financial resources. During a reception in Lagos honoring the scholars, Consul General Will Stephen congratulated the students and encouraged them to make the most of the diverse opportunities available at American universities. He highlighted the rigorous admissions process they successfully navigated and expressed the confidence in their continued academic excellence in the U.S. Among the representatives is Chigozie Paul Odo, who will be pursuing a PhD in chemistry at the University of South Carolina. Odo's doctoral research will focus on immunotherapy, aiming to contribute to lasting cancer treatment solutions. The scholarship represents comprising 10 undergraduate and 23 graduate students will study a wide range of subjects, including biomedical engineering, computer science, mechanical engineering, earth and planetary sciences, organic and medicinal chemistry, and civil, construction, and environmental engineering. Furthermore, the financial aid provided covers various expenses, such as standardized tests, application fees, U.S. visa and service fee, and air travel to the United States. And on the foreign scene, a school has been reprimanded by the data protection regulator after using facial recognition technology (FRT) to take cashless canteen payments from pupils. The Information Commissioner's Office (ICO) said Chama Valley High School in Chelmsford, Essex, broke the law when it failed to complete a data protection impact assessment (DPI) before stating to use the technology. The secondary school, which has around 1,200 pupils aged 11 to 18, had not properly obtained clear permission to process the children's biometric data, and students were unable to exercise their rights and freedoms. Recall that in March last year, the school began using the technology to take cashless canteen payments before an assessment was made of the risk to the children's information. And Lynn Curry, head of privacy innovation at the ICO, said handling pupils' information correctly in a school canteen environment is as important as the handling of the food itself. And that's it on the news today. But before we go on, another look at the major story. ASU suspend planned nationwide strike. CASU lecturers threaten 2-week warning strike over welfare. Reps explain push for removal of university from Band A electricity tariff. U.S. consulate gives 33 Nigerians $2.92 million scholarship to students in the American universities. And on the foreign scene, school reprimanded after using facial recognition technology to take canteen payments from pupils. And that's it on the news. It was compiled and edited by OLUBUNMI KAZEEM. For coverage of your educational events, seminars, conferences, fairs, competition, among others, you can call us on 070-250-74268. Again, 070-250-74268. Or you can send us an email via educationmediaservices@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. I am Karim Aminat.
tó bá kàwé rẹ̀ bàtà rẹ̀ á mọ̀ ṣe rẹ̀. ló láyé táwa yìí sẹ̀. Ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dẹni gíga. Ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò ọlá. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa. Tẹ́ bá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dẹni gíga. Ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò ọlá. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa. Tẹ́ bá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa. Tẹ́ bá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Ọmọ tí kò gbẹ́kọ̀, ó dáni lójú pé yóò jìyà. Ọmọ tí kò gba ẹ̀kọ́, ó dáni lójú pé yóò jìyà. Iṣẹ́ burúkú ni wọ́n ń ṣe, tí wọ́n bá jalè wọ́n wá tún fọ́lé. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, tẹ́ bá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Iṣẹ́ burúkú ni wọ́n ń ṣe, tí wọ́n bá jalè wọ́n wá tún fọ́lé. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, tẹ́ bá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, tẹ́ bá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa.
That's all we can take on the news for today. Right now, we'll take the icon of the week by Said.
You are welcome to the Icon of the Week segment, where we consider the life and times of individuals that lived inspiring lives and contributed immensely to educational development in the world. I am Said Aremu. Our icon for this week is Michael Faraday, a British scientist, physicist, and chemist considered as the father of electricity. Michael Faraday, 1791 to 1867, was a British chemist and physicist who made groundbreaking contributions to our understanding of electricity, electromagnetism, and electrochemistry. Faraday was born on September 22, 1791, in Newington Butts, Surrey, London. The young Michael Faraday, who was the third of 4 children, had only basic school education and had to educate himself. At the age of 14, he became an apprentice to George Rebel, a local bookbinder and bookseller in Blandford Street. During his 7-year apprenticeship, Faraday read many books, including Isaac Watts' The Improvement of the Mind, and he enthusiastically implemented the principles and suggestions contained therein. During this period, Faraday held discussions with his peers in the City Philosophical Society, where he attended lectures about various scientific topics. He also developed an interest in science, especially in electricity. Faraday was particularly inspired by the book Conversations on Chemistry by Jane Marcet. He later worked as a laboratory assistant to chemist Humphrey Davy. Although Faraday received little formal education, as a self-made man, he was one of the most influential scientists in history. It was by his research on the magnetic field around a conductor carrying a direct current that Faraday established the concept of the electromagnetic field in physics. Faraday also established that magnetism could affect rays of light and that there was an underlying relationship between the two phenomena. He similarly discovered the principles of electromagnetic induction, diamagnetism, and the laws of electrolysis. His inventions of electromagnetic rotary devices formed the foundation of electric motor technology, and it was largely due to his efforts that electricity became practical for use in technology. elected a Fellow of the Royal Society in 1824. He twice refused to become president. In June 1832, the University of Oxford granted Faraday an honorary Doctor of Civil Law degree. In 1832, Faraday was elected a foreign honorary member of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. He became the first Fullerton Professor of Chemistry at the Royal Institution in 1833. He was elected a foreign member of the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences in 1838. In 1840, he was elected to the American Philosophical Society. He was one of the 8 foreign members elected to the French Academy of Sciences in 1844. In 1849, Faraday was elected again as associated member to the Royal Institute of the Netherlands, which 2 years later became the Royal Netherlands Academy of Arts and Sciences, and he was subsequently made foreign member. Faraday had a nervous breakdown in 1839, but eventually returned to his investigations into electromagnetism. Having provided a number of various service projects for the British government, when asked by the government to advise on the production of chemical weapons for use in the Crimean War of 1853 to 1856, Faraday refused to participate, citing ethical reasons. He also refused offers to publish his lectures, believing that they would lose impact if not accompanied by live experiments. His reply to an offer from a publisher in a letter ends with, "I have always loved science more than money, and because my occupation is almost entirely personal, I cannot afford to get rich." Faraday died at his house in Hampton Court on the 25th of August 1867 at the age of 75. He had some years before he turned down an offer of burial in Westminster Abbey upon his death, but he has a memorial plaque there near Isaac Newton's tomb. Faraday was interred in the non-Anglican section of Highgate Cemetery. Faraday was interred in the non-Anglican section of Highgate Cemetery. He was married to Sarah Bernard in 1821 and unfortunately had no children. Some of his achievements include, firstly, the discovery of electromagnetic induction in 1831 and the development of the concept of the electromagnetic field. Faraday invented the first electrical generator also in 1831, the first transformer in 1832. In 1832, he discovered the principle of electrolysis and developed the laws of electrolysis in 1833. As a chemist, Faraday discovered benzene, investigated the clatrate hydrate of chlorine, invented an early form of the Bunsen burner and the system of oxidation numbers. He counted times like ion, electrode, and cathode. He published numerous papers and books, including chemical manipulation and experimental researches in electricity. Some of his legacies include the SI unit of capacitance, which is named in his honor, the farad. Faraday's laws of electrolysis formed the basis of modern electrochemistry. His work on electromagnetic induction led to the development of generators, motors, and transformers. His discoveries paved the way for James Clerk Maxwell's equations and the understanding of electromagnetic waves. Inspired generations of scientists he did, including Maxwell, Heinrich Hertz, and Albert Einstein. Faraday's legacy extends beyond science to philosophy and literature, influencing thinkers like William Gladstone and Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Faraday's impact on science and society is immeasurable, and his work continues to shape our understanding of natural world and the technological advancements. That's it on the icon of the week for today. I remain Said Aremu. Education Today continues. Don't go anywhere.
That was the Icon of the Week segment. We celebrate the renowned physics, chemist, and philosopher Michael Faraday. Right now, we'll take the school in focus. Good afternoon and welcome to the School in Focus, where we take a look at institutions of interest, provide a background to their establishment, their administration, and some notable alumni. I am Aisha Hussein. Our School in Focus today is the prestigious University of Ilorin. University of Ilorin, popularly called Juni Ilorin is a federal university located in Ilorin, Kwara State, Nigeria. It was established in 1975 as a university of college affiliated with the University of Ibadan. It became an independent university in 1976. It has since grown to become one of Nigeria's leading universities, commanding a large chunk of undergraduate admission applicants annually. Courses offered in Ilorin. Ilorin offers undergraduate and postgraduate programs in various fields, including art, humanities, social sciences, natural sciences, engineering, agriculture, law, medicine, education, business, and entrepreneurship. Alumni from Ilorin. Ilorin has produced many notable alumni, including prominent politicians like former governor of Kwara State, Bukola Saraki, and Abdul Fattah Ahmed, Gbemisola Saraki, Senator Jibola Bashiru, current National Secretary of the APC, Jamila Bayo Ibrahim, the current Minister of Youth, and so on. Academics like Professor Isaac Oleyede, the current Registrar of JAMB, Prof. Abdul Rashid Nala, Vice Chancellor Kwasu, Prof. Ezekiel Adebiyi, first Professor of Bioinformatics in West Africa and President of Nigeria Bioinformatics Society, Prof. Isaac Obanya, former Vice Chancellor of Covenant University and Landmark University, amongst others. Business leaders: Dr. Sarah Alade, former acting governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria; activist Dr. Joe Oke Odumaki; Mr. Muyosore Onigbanjo, former Attorney General of Lagos State; Dr. Ifedayo Adetifa, former Director General, Nigerian Center for Disease Control; and actors like Femi Adebayo and Nkem Owo, aka Osofia. Ilorin is one of the most sought-after universities in Nigeria for undergraduate admission, especially because of the stability and its academic calendar and the discipline of its staff and students. To secure admission, applicants need to sit for the UTME by JAMB or through direct entry admission using JUPEB, IJMB, NCE, or HND, depending on the choice of course. Admission requirement and process may vary depending on the program and academic session. It is best to check the university's website or contact the address office for the most up-to-date information. That's it on our School in Focus for today. I remain Aisha Hussein. Education Today continues in a moment. Please stay with us. You are still on Education Today on Light Radio, and we are moving into the discourse segment. And our guest is here with us. We are discussing basic education in Lagos State, prospects and challenges. On Saturday, 28th July 2024, about 204,000 outgoing primary 6 pupils sat for this year's placement examination into the public junior secondary schools across 20 local government areas of the state. The exam meant for all the interested primary 6 pupils in both public and private schools was held across different centers across the state. Going by our experience covering the exercise, on the program today, we want to gather insights on the current state and future prospect of basic education in Lagos State. Joining us on the program today, we have an educational administrator, lecturer, researcher, educational consultant, and our in-house analyst, Mr. OLUBUNMI KAZEEM. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Aisha. Good afternoon, our listeners. It's always a pleasure being here.
You're welcome, sir. You can be part of the discourse by sending your comments and questions to 08097 384,000, 08097 384,000, or drop your comment via the live video feed on Facebook and YouTube. Moving into the discourse proper, our short quiz question: In what year was University of Ilorin established? In what year was University of Ilorin established? Send your answer to the WhatsApp number 08097384000 or our Facebook or YouTube page. The first correct answers get our prize. So, welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Our first question for you would be, what was the experience like for you covering the placement examination by primary 6 pupils into the public secondary schools in Lagos State?
Thank you very much, Aisha, for that question. Probably for our listeners who might really not pay attention or might not be aware. Across Lagos State, last week Saturday to be precise, 20th July, the state held what called placement examination. And probably if we don't know, placement examination is open to all primary 6 pupils, expectedly primary 6 pupils, to move into secondary school. Ordinarily, by design of the Universal Basic Education Program, it's a continuous 9-year program. So you don't expect that after primary 6, someone will drop out and that's why you don't have common entrance examination anymore. But the idea is, it's not everybody, for instance, that actually attends the public schools. And you have schools that are just built as primary schools. So you don't have primary 7, primary 8. And it's actually called basic. So you can have what we call GSS1. It's also the same as basic 7 or basic 8 or basic 9. But a lot of times, we are not yet used to that nomenclature. So what we have is, we have junior secondary schools. So we have GSS1, GSS2, and GSS3. So for so many schools that terminate at primary 6, or what we call basic 6, so how will they now move to the next class, which is GSS1, or what we call basic 7? So that is the essence of the placement examination. And that is actually conducted by the state government. For so many people, for economic conditions, that they felt that, okay, for primary school, in order to give our children the best of foundation, a lot of times they send their kids to private primary schools. But moving towards secondary, because they know that that would be probably a bit more expensive and they might not be able to foot that. So they now find a way to actually bring their kids into the public school system at the secondary level. So for someone that has not actually gone through a public educational system throughout primary school, making their way into secondary school, they needed a kind of examination that can actually prove that, yes, they have what it takes to actually move to GSS1. So that's why they write that exam, which has come to replace what we call the usual common entrance examination. So that exam was held last weekend, and there were, we had to got reports from different parts of the state. So that's where we also got the fact that we have over 200,000 4,000 people writing that exam, pupils. So but that exam was actually a representation of the good, the bad, and the ugly.
How?
Sincerely, well, first is the fact that there was cases where you also had not only just primary 6 pupils. There are some kids probably in their school, what they have is primary 5. They don't have primary 6. So they also write that exam. So one way or the other, eventually some of these people might eventually get affected by the time they get to SS3 and they finish school and they want to write UTME. Now that the federal government is saying that from next year, not this session actually, from next session, you would have a situation where admission to tertiary institutions will actually be for 18 years. So that's one. So you have a situation where a lot of these people will actually probably finish at 14, 15, and they might not be able to go anywhere. That's one. Number 2 is also the fact that there was widespread examination malpractice, aided by teachers, by school proprietors, by different people. And the question is, if truly these kids, have what it takes to move to secondary school, then you should have prepared them adequately, and there will be no need for exam malpractice. We have a situation where inside the exam hall, teachers, invigilators will say, number 1, A, number 2, and things like that. A lot of them, they are paid for it. You have a situation where people, is just by virtue of, it's just probably the money they're interested in. So many private schools have actually exploited parents. Officially, to the state government, probably, I think it's just around 5,000 thereabout, but you have schools charging as much as 20,000. The exploitation was there. But so now imagine that after charging 20,000, so they're like, so we'll charge 20,000, and the child will not pass. So the child must pass by fire by thunder. So they try to even, connive with invigilators, teachers in such schools and things like that. Please allow us, these are our special candidates and things like that. There were centers actually where the exams were written. There are as much as about 400 centers across the state. That's the report we got. And so you have a situation where so many anomalies, so many malpractices took place in that exam. The Lagos State government needs to do better. In fact, you also have a situation where there are even officials of the local government. At the level of local government, I will call local government education authority. So you have officials of this, LGA, more like what we call the Minister of Education at the local government level, because they are the ones that oversee day-to-day running of public primary schools. They themselves are, this is the amount of money you people will pay me as the ES, as whatsoever. So a lot of them already have that charge as part of the money that these schools pay. And you have so many schools, a situation where a school is not registered, but then it presents candidates for exam. So they now register them under another school. So in fact, you even have a situation where for the purpose of that exam, we have an SPV, or say SPV, special purpose vehicle, a name of a particular school that is registered in that school, but that school in reality does not exist. It only existed on paper for the purpose of that exam. So there are so many unregistered schools that will now come under the platform of that particular registered name that got approval from the government to present students for exam. So these are some of the anomalies. Now I'm trying to imagine that we have such at the level of primary school where you're already, introducing these kids to examination malpractice. So how then would you want to tell such students that they should read and prepare adequately for exams? So a lot of corruption. Even for some invigilators, they will tell you that now we are doing this. We are officials of the state government. We are teachers, public school teachers. And the government is not giving us a dime for invigilating this exam on a Saturday. So we left our families, we left our homes, we left the comfort of our homes to actually invigilate this exam. And we'll just come, we'll do the exam, we'll supervise, we'll invigilate the exams, and go back home at our own cost, to fro, without anything, not even water, not even food. And not even, stipend at least to say, okay, thank you for assisting us in conducting this exam. Meanwhile, the state government has actually charged all schools, each candidate, at an amount of money to register for that exam. Yes. But at the end of the day, this teacher, so at the end of the day, so what they are just telling you is that if the government has collected money, and at the end of the day, we are doing the work, no compensation whatsoever. So will it be wrong for us to also now find a way to also compensate ourselves from probably parents or some of these, schools that have actually come to write exams with us? So that's the experience for me, and I feel like as much as they are trying to infuse a whole lot of things where, okay, ordinarily they have their photo card on their OMR sheet where the picture of the candidate is already printed on the answer booklet, that OMR sheet. For them to just come and shake. But there are some candidates that they did not even have, their pictures were not on the OMR sheet. There are some schools or some candidates where their name did not even, there was even no OMR sheet for them. They only probably just had to tear some, foolscap sheets and things like that for them. And so the question will now be that will those ones also get results? You get it? So, it's a potpourri of, different experiences. While you would have some students that are very, very good, they exhibited the best of, attitude and things like that. Some local government, the ES would have told the teacher, see, let the candidate write the exams themselves. No, I will not condone any form of examination malpractice. And they were going around to see. While in some cases, it's only the ES that say, this is my own money, so whatever you people do, that's your own. At least you people have been making this money and I don't even know about it all this time. So now it's my turn. So at least you must give me my share. So I must collect returns. So you have all of this and you're like, and we're running an educational system. Is this an educational system or just an examination system where people come up with their own reward system? It's like that.
Thanks so much, Mr. KAZEEM. Looking at all this happening, then what is the basic education? How does it operate in Nigeria, especially Lagos State?
When we talk about basic education, we need to be clear about what we mean when we talk about basic education. In Nigeria, we operate a system that I can call 1934. a year of pre-primary education, 9 years of basic education, 3 years of senior secondary education, and 4 years minimum of university education. Now, the idea is, initially we're just running, government came up with the Universal Basic Education Scheme in 1999. Basic education is, like I was saying, the most fundamental, the most elementary, the foundational level, that's what we call basic, the foundation of the education. In the past, it used to be just primary school, so 6 years of primary education. But the federal government under former President Olusegun Obasanjo felt that with the way the world is advancing, primary education is no longer enough for you to say someone is educated. So for that reason, they extended the program to cover junior secondary education. But then the basic education program is actually a 10-year, also catering for 1 year of pre-primary education. So that at least if a child is 5, the child can actually come to school and spend 1 year of all pre-primary education in some schools. That's what you have as kindergarten.
Prep.
No, not prep. Kindergarten. So after the kindergarten, you now go to basic 1. So by the time you are starting basic 1, you're already 6 years.
Okay.
And the policy provides that at least for primary education, it should be from 6 to 11 years. So you must be 6 before you actually start primary education. But in Nigeria, we cut corners, so a lot of things happen. And probably people will say, yes, it is KG, but you're actually using Pukwan. So, it's just funny, but that's who we are. So basic education is that lowest level of the education level. So you have primary, secondary, and tertiary. So that primary is the basic education level. And how it operates, it's actually a joint responsibility between the federal government and the state government in terms of funding. That's why you have what we call UBEC, and you also have SUBEBs. So what they are, UBEC is Universal Basic Education Commission. It's an agency of the Federal Ministry of Education that oversees the basic education program. So at the level of the state, now have what we call State Universal Basic Education Boards to oversee that basic education at the level of the state. So both of them are responsible, the state and federal government are responsible for funding basic education. So it's supposed to be compulsory free for all citizens. So, and that's why you are not supposed to actually pay, because the federal government has actually made provision for it. So that's the way the program runs. So specifically in Lagos too, so we have the suburbs. But then because primary education, trying to practice what we call true federalism, where you have responsibility of federal, state, and local government. The local government now oversees. Ordinarily, it's supposed to be local government that should be responsible for primary education. But because of funding and the issue of financial autonomy and the likes like that, payment of teachers and so many other things like so, at a point the state government actually came into the equation and took over the responsibilities of primary education directly from the state and from the local government. But then they left the idea of discipline, reorganization, transfer, posting, and the likes like that for teachers, and to also ensure at least a level of quality assurance at the local government level. So you have what we call local government education authority, where the local government also plays a role in terms of primary education. So a lot of times you see them also coming in some area, probably providing furniture, writing some big notes and things like that for the pupils, bags and some other things like that as so-called dividends of democracy. So it's a joint responsibility by everyone.
Local, state, and so with that being said, what are the biggest challenges facing the basic education in Lagos State?
Well, thank you very much. So many issues that basic education, that confronts basic education in Lagos State. Now, I'll divide this into two. First is the fact that education is provided both by the government and private individuals. So, the government is responsible for supervision of the private education, so that yes, being provided by private individuals, philanthropies, organizations, they have their schools, but then government also plays a supervisory role to ensure that the right things are done. So they approve the schools and do the registration and so many other oversight functions like that. But for both, so when it comes to the challenges, there are challenges that face private schools, there are challenges that actually face public schools. Now, one of the challenges facing public education in Lagos is that of overcrowding. And especially this happens in many public schools. let me not say most, many public schools, public primary schools, they are very much overcrowded. There are also some private schools, especially some of these mushroom schools that are unregistered. They also suffer from overcrowding because they are trying to provide what we call low costs education. Low cost education, economically speaking now. But what suffers usually for that low cost is the quality. Because at the end of the day, they don't have quality infrastructure, they don't have quality staff. The environment is not conducive. You have someone that will probably just rent like a 2-bedroom flat and convert it to a primary school, and you partition the class into different cubicles. Now say primary 1, primary 2, primary 3, or basic 1, basic 2, basic 3, basic 4, basic 5. You still have creche, you still have prep, you still have this. So it's a flat that is converted to a whole school. So imagine what will come out of that. How such classes will be overcrowded. And because nobody now trusts public schools. So everybody wants to put a child in a private school, even if there is nothing private in it, even if there is no quality in it. So far it's a private school, that when this kind of uniform, they are doing this charge, are doing this kind of fees, how much are you paying your own school, and things like that. Whether the teachers are registered or qualified or not, we don't care. Whether the school is approved or not, you don't care. So far it's private school. You don't want it to, to hear that. What's the name of your child's school? Community primary school. You don't want that because that's public school. No. I cannot send my child there. Even probably there are spaces there. So we have a lot of schools that have less students because they're public schools, because people don't trust them. And at the same time, you also have some schools that are overcrowded public schools because people don't have the economic wherewithal to send their children to private schools. And at the same time, you also have a replica of that in the mushroom private schools. So the issue of overcrowding is there. Beyond the overcrowding is also funding constraint, because a lot of these schools are underfunded, including public schools. In the sense that you see the level of infrastructure, the dilapidation is nothing to write home about. So a lot of these schools are also understaffed. Many private schools, I'm being specific now in Lagos. See, I'm a Lagosian. So I'm not saying this probably I just want to denigrate anybody. It's my state. I'm an indigenous of this state. So but when we see some of this, we need to call out the state government. What exactly are you guys doing? Yes, you say you are running free education, but the truth is, it's not as if everything is free. It's actually our tax money. It's taxpayers' money that you are supposed to use in running these schools. But a lot of them are understaffed. See, we don't have enough teachers in primary schools. That's a fact. Where you even have non-teaching staff that are converted to teachers. Yeah. In these primary schools, there are no cleaners. So it's these pupils that clean.
Roster.
You now have a roster and things like that. So a lot of this, so they are open to diseases and the likes like that, because there are no professional cleaners or people that are actually employed as cleaners. So these are some of the issues. Corruption is there, affecting public schools in Lagos. Even private schools too, because they know that we are not, we don't have approval. So that the government will not just come and close us down, come and pay you something. Or they settle some of these people that are actually supposed to actually supervise them. So you have that corruption. Apart from that is also the issue of the inadequate facilities. We also talk about examination malpractice. I just gave an example of what happened. Now, so you have this idea that government also comes up with this idea that we don't want failure. So you have a situation where people are moved en mass promotion. Because some local government will feel like, and many local government, they will tell you that the students must not fail, even if they are not performing well. So you now have a child that is registering for common entrance or displacement exam, and the child cannot correctly spell his or her name. The question is, how does such a child promote from primary 1 to primary 6? But because you are saying they must not fail, so they manufacture figures. In fact, you also have a situation where there are some teachers that would not even bother to rate for exam before they have already prepared the broadsheet of the students, because they know they will submit at the local government. Because the local government, the LGA office will tell you, if they see red, say no, why did this say? No, go and change it. We cannot accept this one. The child cannot get 40. So the teacher now, so if that is the case, then why am I disturbing myself? Because I have to redo it again. Let me just prepare something fresh, something neat, something perfect, because I know that you will not even bother. So you just collect it like that. So if that is what will give me my weight, so let me have my way and I'll go away like that. So at the end of the day, let me just give these students mark. So you have some of such situations where they just pass like that. And at the end of the day, that affects the quality of outcome, because at the end of the day, some of these students, they perform poorly. Because at the end of the day, they say, what's the motivation to read? Because there is no consequences if actually they fail to read. So they some of them feel like, we know we cannot fail, so they won't bother to read. So beyond that is also the fact that we now also have some of the challenges. We still have, as much as we say we have some of these schools, because they are inadequate, we still have so many out of school children because of the economic conditions of the state. The state is very, very expensive to live in. The standard of living is very, very poor. So we still have some parents that still don't send their children to school. So that calls to question the enforcement of that UBE law, that you say education is free and compulsory, so no child must be left behind. So, but there are still some child that roam around the streets, they sell water, they sell this, they sell that, when they are supposed to be in school. Where is the enforcement on the part of the government to ensure that these children are in school? Yeah. Are there consequences for their parents? Because we have the Child Rights Act. So, but regardless of all this, some of these things are still there. So the challenges are very, very enormous, and I think the state government has a lot of work to do. The issue of security is still there too, because there are still issues of kidnapping in public schools, in the state generally, not just even public school, public and private. The issue of security. So
thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Mr. KAZEEM. So the next question is, how has the Lagos State government addressed issues of access and enrollment in primary education?
Well, in addressing access and enrollment, the government claims that they are building more schools to expand access. They are also trying to ensure that opportunities are open, that any child that comes to the doorstep of the school should not be turned back for anything. So we have that. So easily people can actually enroll their children, but because they have lost trust in public education, that trust deficit is there. So people still don't utilize some of these opportunities. And at the same time, when you also see that the school that I want to register my child, they don't have enough teachers, or the facility, the environment is not conducive, very dusty. They don't have chairs. There's still some probably pupils that don't have or the and so many other things like that. That also discourages people.
So, what initiatives have been implemented to improve teachers' training and development?
In that area, I must give kudos to the Lagos State government in terms of teacher development, teacher professional development. They have been doing a lot. There is continuous training every term, every session. They also try to infuse technology by actually coming up with what called the Go Excel tablet, although that one also has its own issues. But then, that way, they train these teachers, and continuously, that different programs that even probably subject-centered, that they are doing a lot in terms of STEM, they are doing a lot in terms of probably even improving the well-being of teachers one way or the other in terms of salary, constant payment, and they pay the staff very, very early. They don't owe, Lagos government doesn't owe its teachers. They send them on training, even beyond just the ones that they themselves organize. They also partner with different organizations that will come and train the teachers. So in terms of professional development, they are doing that. And beyond the fact that probably except for those ones that are non-academic staff that are actually being turned to teachers, ordinarily you will not find a teacher that is not qualified, that does not have any educational qualification, is a teacher in Lagos. So that I give it to the state. So that is a standard that you must meet before you can actually come into the teaching profession. So it's not just a case of I have my degree. That you have a degree and you don't have any educational qualification, can't get a job as a teacher in Lagos. So in terms of that, they are really doing a lot, and we must give them kudos.
Yes, kudos to our government of Lagos State, right?
Yes,
okay.
Lagos State too.
So the next
Maybe
question
Oliver Twist will ask for more.
The next question is, how has the state addressed issue of overcoming and inadequate infrastructure?
Well, they continue to do that. They continue to refurbish schools. In some cases, they're even building more schools. But then, the rate at which they are doing that is not commensurate with the rate at which we have number of pupils that we have in Lagos.
So, regarding the malpractice you spoke about earlier, what measures do you think have been taken to address the examination malpractice?
The government has not taken enough measures, and that's a fact, because it's still prevalent. So they really need to do more in terms of tackling the examination malpractice. See, by the time, if you really want to do that, you probably even need to infuse technology. Then you also do unannounced visitation to these schools to supervise and things like that. So by that time you actually see many culprits, and by the time probably people see that there are consequences, there are disciplinary actions taken against those probably who perpetrate such evil, then they would shun it. But when they see that someone, in fact, a lot of times it has become a tradition in the civil service, even in Lagos it operates, that it is you, if you complain or you write a petition and you are a civil servant, it is you actually who complain that you actually be victimized, not those that you complain against. Because a lot of people too, because of political considerations, a lot of them got this job on the basis of political patronage. It's slots, political slots. A candidate of the upper, candidate of the chairman, candidate of chairman, candidate of one honorable, candidate and this. So they got that job on the basis of slot. So a lot of them, there is that impunity, that arrogance in them that I did not beg for this job. They gave me it is slot. So you cannot judge. Nobody can remove me here in Lagos and things like that. Now we they run the show and things like so. That one is also there. So by the time that is consequences for some of this wrong action, I think things would improve.
How has the state government supported the children from? How are they supported the students' issue of overcrowding and inadequacy?
I think I have answered that. I've answered that actually.
Okay, sir. The next question is, how has the state supported children from disadvantaged background?
Well, one thing is, because public education is supposed to be a leveler, Lagos government has done a lot in that. And that's why when I said that, no child is turned back from a particular school. By the time you step in that, I actually want to get registered, I bring a child to a school. No, that child will not be turned back. In fact, they would even appreciate that you came around. So the only thing I tell you is go and bring your tax clearance certificate, or go and bring your last rank, go and bring this. At least let us have those that are documented. You cannot just come from heaven and just follow. But then, see, we'll accept you on the condition that, okay, tell your parents or the parent that has actually brought that child, go and bring this, go and bring it, so that at least we are sure that you are a taxpayer in Lagos and your stay in Lagos is you are also a registered resident of Lagos. So with that, but then it's not on your social status does not matter. They don't look at that when registering. It's open to everyone, and Lagos has done a lot in doing that. And that's why there are so many people that are even not of Lagos origin. Yes. There are so many people from different states, including from the southeast, including from the north. The moment they've come to Lagos, they know education is free in Lagos, so they are registering them. And my brother and my sister, even if the person is actually a house help. Yes. There are so many of them in public schools in Lagos. And give that to Lagos State government. They have done a lot in trying to ensure that, see, education is a leveler. Realizing that, and by the time we give them education, their lives will be, will be better. At least we will take some people off the streets by the time we give them education. And they have done a lot in doing that. And that is no discrimination on the basis of probably status or religion or any other thing like that. Kudos to the Lagos State government for that.
So with the inclusiveness from Lagos State government, how what are the learning outcomes for students in Lagos State? Because we now have everybody from other states, from even if you are underprivileged. And
that's what I see. So, well, a lot of times they say, let's just look at it. A lot of times, but you see probably results in national exams like NECO, like WAEC and things like that. You would see state of origin, but a lot of times people don't ask state of residence where that exam was written. There are so many people today. You say the best so in WAEC is from Anambra State. This one is from Benue State. This one is from Bayelsa State. But a lot of them are actually based in Lagos. They are benefiting from the conducive learning environment that is provided in Lagos. And from the fact that there is no discrimination, so everyone is accepted. So there is no exclusion. So, but then you still that they are staying in Lagos or they are being educated in Lagos does not remove the fact that Lagos is not their state of origin. Yes. And Lagos government is not even looking at their state of origin before giving them education. So that's a level of inclusion, and we must praise them.
Thanks so much, sir. So the next question is, how has corruption and mismanagement of education fund in Lagos been addressed?
Well, it's for government to attend to that one. As far as I'm concerned, that has not been addressed, because I feel like If probably you award contract and people don't fulfill, the conditions tied to that contract, how many contracts have been revoked for the fact that people did not meet up with the standards of the job that they were given? Or probably there are even some things they ought to supply and they didn't supply it. Or that some people pay for this and that. The only one I know in terms of corruption that the government is trying as much as possible in addressing, and that has been reduced, drastically, is corruption by the direct staff of the schools, like the teachers, the principals, and things like that. Because in the name of free education, if any principal just ask any child to pay anything, if the report gets to the sake, that principal is in trouble. So that's one. There is deterrence for those direct civil servants. But especially those political appointees at the LGA level, at suburb level, at district, or at some other ministry and things like that. Usually, you see, we don't get to hear anything. But for the teachers, and that's why some people feel like teachers we are being victimized. If anyone else does anything, he goes to the news, he goes to this, you do that. But how about other people? Why we are not excusing those ones? And I don't think we should even excuse teachers because you are a model for the society. But what we're saying is the government still needs to do a lot more in terms of tackling corruption, especially when it has to do with probably contracts awarded for infrastructure in Lagos. The last governor that I think really did a lot in tackling that, especially even for all these contractors and all, what have you, is actually Babatunde Raji Fashola. Because there are even schools that the contracts were awarded, and for those that actually build those schools and did not build them to standard, he did not accept the contract, the project from them. He rejected it. For so many were revoked. So I think that the government really needs to do more in terms of tackling corruption.
So let's just hope they are still coming better to get those at the higher hierarchy. So the next question will be, what are the biggest success and achievements in basic education in Lagos State?
Well, first is the fact that the inclusiveness is something that we really need to praise the government for. Beyond that is also the fact that to a large extent the government is still working on improving the infrastructure. So there is still a lot to be done. Because I ask myself, if they have really done it, that the infrastructure is perfect, that children should be able to attend public schools, but can the children of the public officials in Lagos attend public schools? That shows that I see a lot amiss in terms of the number of teachers, in terms of the quality of infrastructure, in terms of the conducive learning environment. So, but then the prospects are there that they still continue to do a lot more. Because all that we are saying is just because it is in Lagos. Go to many other states that issue, you don't have anything existing there. So the government is still trying. But we are saying that as public schools, that should be the model, that should be the standard, even for private schools. If the public schools in Lagos are subjected to the same standards that private schools are subjected to before they get approval, many public schools in Lagos will fail. Yes, that's the reality. So we really need to do that. But then you also see that in terms of teacher development, that's a plus. So it's a success story. Technology integration in education, that's a success story in Lagos. They are still trying, but they can still do more because there are so many classes you don't have technology, tools. It goes beyond probably just giving teachers tablets and say you have infused technology. Technology is not only tablets. How about the students? How about the classes? And so many other things like that. So that, is it. But then there are still, like I said, another thing is in terms of community involvement, state government is also doing a lot, bringing communities to be involved in management of schools. So we have what we call school-based, management committees, SBMCs and the likes like that. So I think that the government is doing a lot in that regard, which will give them kudos. It's a success story, but then there is room for improvement.
So that's all we can take on the discourse segment for today. We'd like to appreciate our in-house analyst, Mr. OLUBUNMI KAZEEM, for the beautiful insights he has provided on today's program. So we are going to be taking the words on marbles now. You're welcome to the Word on the Marble segment of Education Today, where we take a look at memorable quotes that are education and inspirational to everyone. Today we have a quote from O.G. Mandino. According to him, take the attitude of a student. Never be too big to ask questions, know too much to learn something new. Take the attitude of a student. Never be too big to ask questions, never know too much to learn something new. That's our word on the marble for today. Learning is a continuous process that takes place for as long as we live. As such, regardless of our age, status, and personal achievements, we must be open to learning every day, every time, and everywhere. So, do we have answers to our questions? So, The answer is Unilorin was established in 1975. This is to inform you, our esteemed listeners, that you can sponsor this program or advertise your product and services, and also showcase your event on our program. This you can do by calling the numbers 07039538998, 07039538998, or 07025074268. Let's know how you feel about today's program through our various platforms. Facebook, www.facebook.com/educationtoday. Then you can also send mail to educationalmediaservices@gmail.com. Many thanks to the entire crew of Education Today and the management of Light Radio. Our supervising producer has been Said Aremu. Many thanks to Twice and